Hey there, everybody. It is me, Chris Herman, here for another episode of On Deck. You got me one-on-one today with you, and I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch this episode. And I'm looking forward to this topic. Appropriately today, I have my wife got me these beautiful glasses for my birthday, and this is like a little globe filled with water. And have a little sip appropriately for today's conversation. Before we start the conversation, as always, I would like to encourage you to please subscribe to the Herman Agency YouTube channel. I heard somebody the other day say, smash the bell, smash the bell. You don't have to smash it, but you can just ring the bell, and you'll get notifications when our new content comes out. Please like and comment on these videos. It's helpful to us. And it's always, and I'm always curious to hear your thoughts and reactions on these videos. So without further ado, let's roll forward. Today's going to be an interesting one. I want to talk about climate change. Yes, climate change. Now, I want to be spoiler alert here. I will not be taking any position or any sides. This is not, I'm not here to argue one side or the other. This is actually my attempt to share what I understand. And my plea to anybody out there that is listening or watching that has a strong feeling, opinion, or good informational sources on the topic, I am looking to learn about this topic. I'd like to learn a lot more. So no sides will be taken today, as ever. It's not about sides. Let's get some information. Let's have some conversation. So without further ado, let's talk about climate change a little bit. The other day, we had another really torrential rainy day here in South Florida. I live in Aventura, Florida, which is just halfway between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. And any of you that either live down here in Florida or are familiar with our state know that particularly here in South Florida, when it rains hard, it doesn't take a lot for this whole place to flood. Why? Because the bulk of Florida, and South Florida particularly, is sitting on a bed of porous limestone. And so we're basically sitting on top of a big sponge, a big, firm sponge that's already filled with water. And it doesn't take a lot of rain to drive those water levels up and for streets to flood. And when I talk about flood, I mean anybody that lives down here, particularly like South Beach and certain areas, man, when it rains and it floods, it's deep. Real quick, you've got torrential depth. I don't know if there's such a thing. You got real deep water on the streets, and it can be tough to get around. And we had another one of those days the other day. And it gets talked about a lot down here in Florida about just, what do we do? How do you pump the water out? Is there any way to solve this? And I don't know that anybody has an answer. And you also hear in South Florida, you hear a lot of talk. There's been plenty of articles written, and I'm sure news pieces done about the fact, and the very real fact, that as a result of rising sea levels, whether you want to call that climate change, global warming, don't care. Sea levels are rising and are expected to rise, according to the information that I've received. And Miami, as a city, is very likely to be significantly underwater, perhaps within 10 to 20 years. Don't quote me. I think you understand. I'm speaking in generalities here, but anybody that's paid any attention to this would know that those statements, seem to be pretty common, and you want to believe. I don't want to believe that they're true, but I think the people saying them are accurate. There's been a number of discussions in Miami about what to do, how to prevent the rising sea levels. Do you build a gigantic wall out in the ocean? Do you build different structures to help alleviate the rise of this water? But those that say that the city of Miami and the eastern coast of southern Florida could experience significant rise in seawater level, resulting in significant flooding. Now, you wouldn't know that there's any concern about that if you took a look anywhere here in South Florida, because what do you see? You see luxury condo. Everything's luxury down here. It can't be in South Florida. It's not luxury. I mean, you got luxury toilets, you got luxury everything here. And what you really have is one luxury condo building after another going up. They go up in Sunny Isles. They go up in Aventura. They go up in downtown Miami and Brickell. They're going up on South Beach. They're going up on down in Coconut Grove. I mean, the amount of construction over the last 15 to 20 years here in South Florida has just been insane, and it's just not stopping. And you've got billions of dollars international money, billions of dollars in international money being invested in the South Florida real estate boom. And the South Florida real estate is booming. Why? Because, it's a beautiful, desirable place to live. You got these incredible, buildings going in. You've got a wonderful, beautiful, luxurious lifestyle down here. You've got people relocating from other parts of the country that are leaving the north, leaving the cold, leaving high tax states, leaving political climates that they don't particularly favor anymore, and they're coming here to Florida, coming in droves. And at the same time, you've got this potential looming threat of continued climate change and rising sea levels, which could result in a lot of this beautiful new construction to be fucked. All these gorgeous lobbies underwater. I mean, seriously, this is what they're talking about, and they're saying 10 to 20 years. Now, this is where I stop and say, I'm no climate science expert. This could all be a bunch of horse shit. Maybe it'll never happen. So that's what we're here to talk about. And that's really what I want to get to. Recently, we just came out of, if it's not still going, the climate summit in Glasgow, Scotland. I think it was called like COPD 26 or CPO 26 or COP 26. I think COPD is a medication, right, for asthma or emphysema. Anyway, had this climate change. Not everybody showed. China didn't show. I don't think Russia showed. Apparently there was a lot of talk about, impending, doom and disaster, and not much in the way of actual action items on the way out. Nothing to be surprised with there. But we've certainly, continue to hear, tons and tons of stuff about climate change, right? And so I want to just sort of break down some points as I understand it. Again, not from the perspective of taking a stand, from the perspective of I'm genuinely interested in learning more about this topic. So if anybody that watches, if you got more info, please let me know. So on the one hand, you've got the people who believe in climate change, and if you look at some of the information available to you, some of these arguments make sense, right? You look around the planet and you see polar ice caps melting. You see the glaciers melting and crumbling into the ocean over large periods of time. This has been happening. You see those photos where it shows an area in the Arctic that used to be all ice and now it's gone, and you see brown land. There has been an average rise in global temperature. There has been an average rise in the sea levels, and the climate change people will say that this is largely due to the amount of CFCs, basically the pollution that we've pumped into the atmosphere, is causing there to be a limited amount of circulation of something. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay, let me just stop trying to talk like a scientist, because I'm not one. So we're not going to go there. But the point is that the argument is that we've polluted the earth, and we've done a bad job, through the Industrial Revolution with all the gases and chemicals and stuff that we've put into the ozone layer, and it's depleted the ozone layer. Thank God I remember the actual basics of this argument. We've depleted the ozone layer, hence the earth is warming up. Now, that all kind of makes sense. We had the Industrial Revolution. We've burned a shit ton of coal and fossil fuels, pumped all these chemicals into the atmosphere. I'm not a anti-industrialist. I don't sit here and, I'm not an angry person about it. Through history, our societies, I believe, have constantly tried to come up with the best inventions, the best technology, the best ways to further continue and improve life on Earth. The combustion engine being one of those things. I don't think any one of us would necessarily go back and turn back time and still be riding horse and buggy, although that might be fun. But the internal combustion engine was sort of a step along the way. And if the fumes and gases and poisons and what have you that come out of that and that come out of the industrial sector have poisoned the planet and caused the ozone layer to deplete, I mean, that seems sensible. I don't know, if that's a fact or not. I'm sure there are plenty of people that would tell me there are. But it seems logical that if you just look around what we've done as human beings, that some of those decisions and some of those toxins have had and are having a negative effect on the planet, thus resulting in some sort of global warming. That doesn't seem illogical. That's one side. On the other side, one of the key arguments is that, well, the Earth goes through natural warming and cooling cycles, and that we are in a natural warming cycle. And I saw something recently online that showed that Earth temperatures going back thousands of years actually went through a long period of time where they were consistently higher than they did cool off, and we've had some rises and drops in temperature over the last period of time. Now, don't quote me, but 100 years, 200 years. So that makes sense, right? I mean, it seems sensible that the Earth would go through warming and cooling cycles, and that we could be in a warming cycle. That seems logical. That just seems to be logical. To me, it also seems logical that as human beings, as a unnecessary or unfortunate byproduct of our progress and creation, particularly on the industrial side, that we've had a negative effect on the planet. There are also those that would say that our heavy meat-oriented diet on the planet, which requires a significantly huge population of cattle to support, and at times the forests that are cut down to make room for grazing for these animals, between the methane gas from the animals, the cutting down of the recirculatory trees to make more room for pasture, that all these are potentially a negative impact. I think that seems kind of logical too. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that it seems like there's some good logical points on both sides. There's certainly an enormous amount of intensity focused on the topic. But as I've said in other conversations and other podcasts, it doesn't seem like the wealthiest people on the planet are making any investments of their own net worth or financial worth, into solutions that could be viable economic solutions to this, right? You don't see anybody stepping up to say, hey, we're going to invest some money into some sort of technology or business that could, for lack of better terminology, be the janitor of the planet. Are there not technologies that would allow us to clean the oceans and do it in a way that's profitable? Is there not a way to measure profitability on cleaning up the planet? I don't know. But you'd think that there would be, but it doesn't seem as though anybody's investing in this. So this whole, for and against climate change thing, it's very interesting. I mean, certainly there are plenty of people that say we are at the absolute red alert moment, that if we don't do anything now, we are going to forever and or irreparably damage the Earth. Now, I don't know. The Earth's been here a long time. I think the Earth will be here long after we're gone. Will the Earth be the same? I don't know. But certainly, Mother Earth is far more powerful than we are. But we do need to be good stewards of this planet. And it just seems like, as with everything else, very difficult to get good information. It has become a partisan topic. I don't understand why it's partisan. I get it. You could say, well, there's big business interests that are against some of these initiatives. Maybe it's, the oil industry is against any type of climate change activism because it would, negatively affect their business. But, don't we all agree at this point in time that big business, it used to be in the day like big business was Republicans, the corporations were Republican, and Democrats were, not with the corporations. I think anybody with a brain in their head would realize that the corporations, they're not partisan. I mean, they're partisan, but only to the extent of where can they accomplish what they need to accomplish. So it's not like Republicans only are protecting corporations and that Democrats don't. I don't know if I said that the right way. The point that I'm trying to make is it's not necessarily as partisan when it gets to the actual business level, right? So what's to be done? I don't know. It just seems like there's just not a lot of good information, and you think it would be in everybody's best interest, left or right, big business, small business. You'd think it would be in our best interest to have a good, meaningful conversation about the topic and to be able to put action plans into place that are helpful, that don't hamstring business, but at the same time make meaningful gains towards improving the overall quality of our air and of our water. But as for, the overarching topic, I'm seeking a lot of information. So if it seems like I'm a little all over the place on this topic, I kind of am. There's no doubt about it. But I still wanted to talk about it in hopes that talking about it might yield some information coming back to me. So there you have it. Today we talked about climate change. Woohoo! Big hot topic in the world today. And I would really welcome your comments and your thoughts on the topic, because I'm looking to learn and grow on this one, because it's a big one. It's a big one. Whether you believe it or not, it is a huge divide line in our world right now, and I'd like to know more about it. So that's why I wanted to speak about it. Again, thank you. It's me, Chris Herman, here for another solo episode of On Deck. I hope you're all well. Take care. We'll see you next time.